Isn't it time you got to know your technology leaders? You're listening to Off the Record with GTRA, and I'm your host, Kelly Oakham. So grab your coffee or cocktail and join us for our casual yet intimate and thought-provoking expose on our top council members, ambassadors, technology innovators, and thought leaders. Thank you for tuning in to today's Off the Record with GTRA. I'm very excited to introduce today's guest, Dr. Michael Valivullah, the Chief Technology Officer for NASS for the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Thank you for joining us, Michael.
Oh, thank you, Kelly. It's my pleasure.
Great. We would really like to know more about who you are and how you got started in your career. So let's start there.
I have been with the federal government for almost 14 years now. I've been a CTO and CIO at National Agricultural Statistics Service, which is part of USDA. Prior to that, I was with the Science and Technology Director at Department of Homeland Security. I've also worked at the Department of Veterans Affairs and also U.S. Capitol Police. Prior to that, I was with the private industry for almost 15 years. I worked for HP, Lockheed Martin, Freddie Mac, NASDAQ, Sabre, and U.S. Airways. So I have quite a bit of experience in the private industry as well as in different federal organizations.
Excellent. What would you say drives you the most? What motivates you and makes you happy professionally?
It is the motivation to perform public service and making a difference in people's lives, then I would say. And technologically, implementing new systems and modernizing technology and evolving the systems that we have to provide better service to citizens and also increase efficiency. Those are my motivations. And also, I'm a constant learner. I continue to keep up with the technology and the transformations that occur as well in the organizational field as well as in the technology field. Those are the motivators for me professionally.
Wonderful. What would you say are some of your interests and challenges, lessons learned, things of that nature?
My current interests are in big data and analytics. You probably are very familiar with the unmanned aerial systems, also known as drones. Mm-hmm. And there are lots of sensors that sit on these aerial systems, and they collect data. And there is lots of good things that go on with drones. People have a wrong impression about them, but they can be used for lots of good stuff. And using Internet of Things, and of course, when you have so much data, you need to be able to analyze those things, and you need good analytics. That's my interest. In terms of challenge, and as always, we have resource constraints in the organization, and also there is a certain amount of resistance to change. People get comfortable in the way that they operate, and it is hard for them to look at the future in the way that some of us look at. So it is that is a challenge, but it takes some time to convince people to look beyond what they are comfortable with. And also the lessons learned, I would say that my lessons learned in this industry is trust but verify, because as you know, as a project manager and program manager, usually, you get all these assurances and concurrences from meetings, but after you go outside the either a conference call or the room, then people tend to forget. You need to, constantly keep up with what is being promised and what is the action item that has been, assigned, and also you need to make sure that what is being said or done is verifiable. That way, keep everybody honest. It's not like you're not trusting them, but you got to verify what you've been told. So trust by verify is my lessons learned in my service anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. And, I'd like to circle back to your interest in drones because, one of the interesting things that we've seen happen recently is, a lot of people using them for personal use. And, I'm curious what your thoughts are on the potential security risks that are posed by, just the general public using drones without it being, there's really no regulation right now in place.
Well, there are regulations actually, because there are restrictions as to where you can fly the drones and where you cannot fly drones and how high you can fly. Now you cannot fly a drone out of your eyesight. And there are 6 university settings that have been, given permission or registration to fly drones. And, they are an experimental site like, New York and Virginia Tech and North Dakota, Alaska, Texas, A&M, and I'm forgetting another one. There are 6 universities that have been given permission to fly drones by FAA, and they can fly drones, but still there are restrictions how far. They cannot fly more than 400 feet, and they should be in sight, and it should be directly in sight of the flyer, and the people who fly, they need to have pilot license. These are the requirements that they have. And of course, we have seen some cases where the drones came very close to the passenger airplanes. It's a constant threat. It is just like, another threat that we have had for a long time is the people shining laser light into the pilot's eyes. We need to prevent this because these are the things that people do not realize that what they are doing is going to harm certain part of the population or certain vehicles. So we got to be careful. But unmanned aerial systems can carry lots of sensors, and they are cheaper, faster, easier to manipulate, and the information that they gather are very high resolution. I can talk a little bit about unmanned aerial systems, how they are being used in precision agriculture, and the benefits far way outweigh the drawbacks of the drones. So drones are here to stay, and they are going to be a lot more drones sold. I think I saw a paper which said that they are expecting to sell 160,000 drones in 2016 alone, assuming that 2015 had zero amount of drones in agriculture. So there are lots of drones that are going to be sold, and the market is going to be very vibrant for drones coming forward. So they call it unmanned aerial systems, not drones, because drones.
Sure. Well, and I know they were originally, invented to, help with defense, which obviously provides a lot of value and benefit. But you did mention there are a lot of benefits for Department of Agriculture. So maybe tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, yeah. I do not know how many of your folks that tuned in are familiar with precision agriculture. If you look at the population right now and look at the estimated population by 2050, there are going to be 10 billion with a B people on the face of the earth. So we need about 70% more food yield to feed these folks. And if you look at the farmland, every minute we are losing 2 acres of U.S. farmland to development and encroachment and, other areas like erosion, flooding, all these things, because global warming is going to reduce the farm yield by 20 to 40% in tropical countries. So there are lots of forces acting against the increasing yield. So for us to feed all these folks, we need to increase the yield from the farms. The one way that we can do is by using precision agriculture. So precision agriculture, they use drones, or in case unmanned aerial systems, to collect data, very high resolution data, where the farmer can go and treat just that particular area in the farm that either needs water or fertilizer or can spray insecticide if it is infested. So an average farmer in this country owns about 440 acres of land. Big farm companies use about, they on an average, they have about 8,000 acres of land. So if the farmer scouts the field and sees, okay, the plants are not growing very well, I need to water the plants, what he would do, he would just send a boom and water the whole farm. He probably doesn't need to do that because, only one part of the, farm will probably need some fertilizer or some water. He can or she can target that particular area and save cost, money, because it costs money to spray that particular part of land. He doesn't have to spray all of it. And then pollution in terms of spraying like fertilizers or insecticides. So Professor Raj Khoshla did a study. Whenever a farmer uses precision agriculture to spot treat his farm based on the growth condition of the plant, he or she was able to save anywhere from 15 to 30% or even 50% of resources, and that adds to the bottom line of the farmer. So the future of the farm is going to be not wholesale treatment. It is going to be spot treatment where the farmer can reduce the pollution and also increase the yield and also increase the profit. So that's the way that we are going to increase productivity. Right now, U.S. agriculture is much more productive than any other agriculture in the world, but we can still increase it more. So there are lots of benefits for using unmanned aerial systems in gathering information through signals and the sensors that are on board on these systems that can be easily bought. You can buy a plane, this drone quadcopter for $1,200. It's pretty cheap comparatively.
Well, and since you mentioned the growing problem of land consumption, us losing land for agriculture, it's interesting because just yesterday I saw an article about a new cutting edge idea on smart floating farms. So basically, they're floating in the middle of the ocean, so to speak, and they're solar powered. Any thoughts on this and how this can help, feed the world's really the world's population?
Well, that is also the urban farming that you probably heard that people are growing tomatoes and stuff on the roof now. But even in New York City, in Baltimore, so wherever people find a flat piece of land, they just put a few inches of soil and put plants on it, and it is beneficial. So why can't we use whatever piece of land that is available? It is a multi-purpose land. Basically, that rooftop is just not being used. You may as well grow something on it because we are running out of space. So we're running out of farmland. So wherever we can grow, this is urban agriculture. Wherever we can find a place of, piece of land, just start having a small farm, and it makes you self-sufficient. It is probably organic. It is probably healthy. Keep you fit also. So it is going to help the whole people to be active and also tending the garden. It gives you lots of pleasure for you to eat your own vegetables and fruits that you grew in your own garden. So it is going to alleviate the stress that the population is going to put on limited amount of food that we are going to have in the future.
Agreed. It would be so nice to be able to find a way to encourage, like you said, the urban architecture to really take on more of a green trend. We see a lot of that actually recently in the new buildings coming up in San Francisco. But let's shift gears a bit now and talk more about advances in technology. And what does future public service look like to you?
My way of looking at public service is serve before being asked. Okay? Now, citizen comes to the government or the agency, whatever the case may be, they are going to come, say the veteran is going to come to the Department of Veterans Affairs asking for some benefits. And IRS, all of us taxpayers go to IRS and file our, things. And if something goes wrong, we will call the IRS then, 10 times and maybe on a long hold. And then you get an answer. Maybe that's not the right answer. So we are all having all kinds of problems. The way to serve the public in the future, the way that I'm looking at it, we will be able to, when I say we, the government will be able to guess what this citizen is going to be asking even before the citizen is being asked. We serve the citizen. How do we do that? It is by cognizant computing. So how do we do that? What is cognizant computing? Understanding the need of a particular client. Let me give an example so we all have certain amount of data around us. If you look at these credit card companies or credit companies, the three big ones, they have, I think, about 30,000 pieces of data about each and every individual in the U.S. So they have a lot of data about us. So we should be able to own the data, and that data would travel with us, and we own the data, and we control the sharing the data. So if we have access to that personal cloud, the data about us, who we are, and that data itself will be able to talk to the agency that is providing the service. So the thing is, according to Gartner, they have 4 levels of understanding. They go by see me, secure me, serve me, and be me. So that meaning that the data forms kind of an agent which acts on your behalf. You have given permission for this agent, the data agent, to represent you to go ask for certain things or interact with certain agency that is providing the service and get the service even before you need it, because this is more of artificial intelligence. It is smart thinking, it is deep learning, or the fuzzy logic, neural networks, whatever you want to call it. These agents know how to talk to the other big agent or the service provider and get that information and have it available. And also, I am really interested in augmented reality, where you are actually merging the virtual and the realistic world, so that I do not know if you had a chance to look at HoloLens or other vendors that are creating this augmented reality, where you can merge the real world with the virtual world, where you can get a lot more information than you would normally do in the absence of it. So, and what is going to help this? This is going to be a product of analytics. So if you look at the models, the analytical models that are being developed from the big data world, they are like, 4 different types of models I've seen. One is descriptive models, diagnostic models, predictive models, and prescriptive models. But we have heard a lot about predictive models. But there are other models also. The descriptive models look at you and understand who you are and tells the other models who you are. Then the diagnostic model looks at what is the problem, what are the issues, and try to identify those issues before they arise. And the predictive models, looking at the descriptive model, and it can predict what your needs are going to be in the future. And the prescriptive analytic model is going to tell you, based on the diagnosis or the prediction, what the prescription is going to be and suggesting you a solution even before you ask for it. Those are the ways that the public, I think, in an ideal way, the public service has to move to be able to provide the type of services that a client or a citizen is going to ask for. So my way of looking at it is merging the real world with the virtual world to make it an augmented reality, then provide the services before asked for, and have these analytical models that can be descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive based on the need of a particular client or an entity. So that's what I'm seeing. The public service is going to be more, here it is. And, look at it. If you go to Amazon, if you want to buy some stuff, and even before you buy something, if you look at something, and then this pop-up comes, hey, people who also looked at this. Then you say, you click that, then it takes you to another one. So they can tell you what your interests are based on what you're looking at. They can actually prescribe or predict what your needs are going to be, and their way is to make you buy the stuff. If they have more information, more background about you, like a grocery store that you have this, you become a member, they know what your habits are. They give you the coupon that you are going to use, and hopefully they will sell you more. So that's the idea. So they can foresee based on the data that they have on you and those agents that are constantly running in the background, providing the type of service that you may not even know to ask for, because sometimes people just don't know. And the predictive analytic models will be able to give you clues as to what these needs might be. So you go, maybe I will take one of those. So, that way, it is the same. That's the same way the service needs to be. Sometimes people don't know to ask the right question, but understanding that, their situation, the agencies may be able to help the people better. So that's why I'm saying that, there is going to be more service. Even before a person is asking for a service, it's being offered to them.
Well, what do you think are the USDA's challenges, and what are the solutions that you're considering to overcome those?
Well, as I mentioned, we are in the business of collecting data. And being the statistical agency, we have been doing this since 1836, So we are the number keepers or data keepers for the whole U.S. We have been doing it for a long time. We have lots of data about each and every aspect of the U.S. agriculture. So as I mentioned to you, in the precision agriculture, we are going to be getting more and more and more and more data. Now we have satellite data. Satellite has about a resolution of about 30 meters. That means 30 square meters. That means 100 square feet each pixel. To draw a picture of the U.S. like a cropscape and vegscape, meaning that where is the crop, where are the vegetables grown in the U.S., to paint one of those cornfields in the U.S., we take anywhere from 2 to 3 billion pixels to do that. Each pixel is only about 100 square feet. So by flying the unmanned aerial system, the resolution will be increasing about 145,000 times, meaning that instead of being in billion pixels, we are going into trillion pixels. Then we need to be able to handle that amount of data. That is number one. Then we need to have data scientists to build models, analytical models, to make sense out of the data, because we need to know what the data is telling us. We publish like crop condition. That means during the growing condition of the crop, then we ask the farmer, how much did you plant? How much acres are you going to be planting, say for corn or soybean? Then starting from February till November, then every month we publish the crop condition, how the crop is doing, how many acres are doing well, how many acres are not doing well, where is flood, where is drought, and all this condition we publish. And by the end of like around August, before harvest, then we would publish what the estimated harvest is going to be. We'll forecast. So all this information now is being collected by manually asking people, farmers and ranchers, and hey, what is the condition? Or we will send enumerators to the field to gather that information. By using the drones, we will be able to collect that information automatically, not even asking the farmer for that information. So we need to have this, place where we store the data. That's going to be lots of data. Then we need to have people who understand the data and also develop model to predict what the outcome is going to be, what the product yield is going to be per acre, so we can do a better forecast. So that is our challenge. Finding data scientists to build this analytical model is a challenge. Then we need to train people to do this, because these people are hard to find. Data scientists are very hard to find. So we are looking at some pilots with universities and like North Dakota State University, Florida State, and Nebraska State. We are working with these universities, land-grant universities, to collaborate with us, and hopefully they will help us with the technology. Also, they have already been flying unmanned aerial systems and drones. We may be able to build some models to help us with that. So that's what we are looking forward to.
Excellent. Well, what would some of your thoughts be on the interesting news that surrounds your industry, such as precision agriculture, increasing the food yield to meet demands, and climate change?
Well, this is a challenge for the whole humanity, I would say, because the number of people are increasing, and there is only limited land mass that we have. You just mentioned there are people are floating land on the sea, but the thing is that when we have limited resources, the only way that you are going to increase is by making it efficient. The way to make it efficient is by introducing new methodology, new ways of doing business, and also decreasing the cost. So it is very important for us to use precise techniques like precision agriculture, where you can employ these agents to take the weather condition or the water stress or the crop condition or the infestation by bugs or whatever, nematodes, and the stunted growth of a plant, and water, I mentioned water stress and also the heat. So these are all very important for us to control the growth or aid the plant growth, so that we will get maximum productivity out of every inch of land that is available for us to farm. So that is the challenge that we are going to be having. I think there is more and more software and other consolidation is happening in the agricultural industry, in the precision agriculture, to make this happen. And there is lots of money to be made in this area. And I just saw a report not that long ago that said there are like 1,000 software companies that are getting into agriculture to help the farmers and ranchers get a handle on this data, because data is being collected by the variable rate applicators that put seeds and fertilizer and things like that. And also there are like combines that are, in the field, they're harvesting, planting, doing stuff that need to get done. And also there is going unmanned aerial systems flying on, getting that information from infrared and red cameras to get NDVI, to get the chlorophyll content of the plants, and also looking at the, green, blue, and yellow color of the plant so that they can estimate the health of the plant, and also the temperature of the soil, and also water content, and also the potassium and nitrogen content of the soil. So these things are happening, and there is lots of information being collected. I think only 1%, less than 1% of information that is being collected is being analyzed now. So there is lots of information that is not being analyzed. There need to be a way to analyze that. There need to be tools that need to be available. And a farmer or a rancher is not interested in how to do it. They want to know what they should do with this information. They want the results that is going to help them grow more for a lower cost. That's what they are interested in. We should make life easier for farmers to do that. But our agency is in the business of publishing these reports and forecasting. Hopefully we will have a better, closer forecast. I just saw a presentation by one of the wine companies, Gallo. They make wine. They are in California. And they were saying they are using these remote agents in the farm for the past 3 years. They are able to predict the grape yield and the quality of the grapes within 1 or 2% closer to the actual harvest. So that is a very tight number. So they can really come to very close to reality by using this technology. So precision agriculture is here, and it is going to be used more and more for the benefit of the country and the farmers and growers.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the technology priorities for the federal government in 2016, such as Vistara and cloud?
I think the federal government is on the right track, in my opinion, and from federal data center consolidation, initiative, and cloud first policy, shared first policy, I think they are on the right track, and there is lots of savings that has occurred, but we can do still better. And I think there is lots of pressure from OMB on agencies to do more. I just saw a report that said cloud computing is at $680 million, but we are spending about $80 billion in federal IT. So, and I think we are moving towards cloud more and more. And also with Vistara, there is going to be more transparency in terms of IT acquisition and also inventory management and software consolidation. These are good things to do. I think government is doing a right job in moving towards that direction. I think agencies also know that they cannot just live the way they used to, and they are supposed to, take efficiencies into consideration so that they can be more agile, and also at the same time reduce cost to the taxpayers. And because they are not going to be getting any more money in the budget, so it's going to shrink, they may as well, find ways to, be more efficient. I think it is a good thing for the federal government to go along with whatever in terms of Vistara and other, efficiency initiatives that the federal government, OMB is proposing for agencies to do. I think that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And do you have any suggestions for GTRA and its role in the IT community and its services?
I think GTRA has been doing a wonderful job in focusing on new ideas, new technology, and the solutions that's being delivered. And they bring in the industry and the technology folks together in a sort of area where, in a situation where they can freely discuss what is required from the industry and what the challenges are. And I would like this dialogue to continue, and hopefully as things progress, and we will also change our way of, bringing in more benefit from each other, and that way that is going to help the industry as well as the federal government in reducing the cost, and also, in a way that the industry needs to know what the government wants so that they can provide that kind of service or the products and the government will benefit because if there is more industry folks are trying to compete, then the cost is going to go down so that the government doesn't have to build stuff. So that way, I think it is going to help everybody, and GTRA is doing a good job of bringing the IT community and services together, the vendors in a forum that they can freely discuss the ideas and also benefit from each other's interests.
Well, thank you. That's our passion and our goal.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time today, Michael. It was a true pleasure getting to know more about you and your impressive career.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for having me.
Thank you again for tuning in. Please join us for our next council meeting and upcoming podcasts. Go to gtra.org. Again, I'm your host, Kelly Yoakum, and I look forward to your topic ideas, feedback, and suggested podcast participants. So please feel free to reach out to me at kelly@gtra.org.